Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush Podcast. Yes, we are back in full effect. Well, somewhat full effect. We're missing one partner of ours, but we have returned to give you guys a great episode. Joining me, as always, is the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
How's it going,
Yes.
guys?
And, of course, the one I always have to show my saluting to, boss man himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
Yo, I put on this hoodie that I haven't put on in like 9 or 10 years, and I wanted to see if it still fit, and it's a little snug. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
It looks good on you.
It's because I'm sitting down, and you can only see me from here up. It's it's rolling up a little bit. So, but if you say so, Ed.
Yes, you do. You look good. You really look good. Unfortunately, everybody, our streaming champion, Mr. Ray Apollo, was not able to join us. He is spending family time and having a little wine, I should say, a little adult beverages, being classy. How drunk he's going to be, that we do not know. I'll hit him on Twitter later about that.
How much he drinks tonight, I bet his streamers will find out tomorrow. I can't wait for that tweet that just says, I'm going to be late to my stream because I slept in.
Yes. But everybody, yes, welcome to Boss Rush Podcast. This is the first episode with the new name, but it will always continue to be the great show that you guys know it to be. We're going to be talking about 3 news stories. We got some listener questions. And as always, we got some gaming get down to do. But before we get into that, last week you guys heard from me and Jesse about what we want Boss Rush games to be. And so I'm going to turn it over to Bossman himself, Corey, to have him give you guys a thorough breakdown about Boss Rush games. So Corey, it's in your hands.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I mean, if you guys listen to if you guys watch the most recent retro game show or listen to Pow Block, I kind of talked about it there. Like, ever since me personally, ever since I started doing stuff on the internet, I kind of wanted it to be like just a cool place for friends to do stuff online and have fun while we're doing it. And, Ed, and Jesse, because you've been around for a while now, but Ed's been around since almost the very beginning. And the DNA stuff didn't work out, and it seems that the Nerds Gone Rogue stuff didn't really work out that way either. But the stuff that we've been doing, like Arsenal X and Nintendo Pow Block, and then the NX show, and now Boss Rush Games, I feel like we have the most fun because we're all like relatively in the same ecosystem and play the same games, and I feel like this is like where we're at. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of fun doing this, and I just want Boss Rush Games to be what, maybe selfishly, maybe unselfishly, I don't know, but I've always wanted to just do cool, fun stuff on the internet with my friends, and I think we have a plan. We know what we want to do, and I think that we have fun doing the things we do now, and. Jesse, I know that you've brought up the movie commentary stuff, and that's why I think Real Talk is going to exist again from the old DNA days, right? Movie commentary / review type thing, standard definition where we talk about old toys and games and old movies that kind of put us where we're at now, and 1v1. We all have people that we look up to or friends that are doing similar things, and just interviewing them and asking them questions about where they're at and what they want to do and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. I think that's a cool idea. We have a lot of cool ideas. I just hope we, don't burn out or don't, because that's the one thing that Boss Rush should be is like, it's always going to be something that we have to have fun with, right? And do. And you know, we've discussed Patreon, we've discussed stuff like that, but it's got to be fun, you know, to you know, kind of accomplish the big picture goals. Like I want to make sure, like, you know, we do things and have fun and do fun stuff on the internet, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, I think Ray has that same mentality, and I know that you guys have that same mentality. Like, we all just want to come together and do cool stuff and have fun on the internet, and hopefully someone will listen to us, you know, and
Yeah.
and like,
Well, and like one thing too, like I didn't really say when I talked about it, but like I'm looking forward to, like, you know, not just having people on, you know, other people on the show and talking to other people, but just like promoting, even just getting the chance to promote like things that we're interested in, and you know, and you know, like streamers and stuff, because there's a bunch of people that we kind of know through Mixer and stuff, but like honestly we've just kind of been so busy, and I felt bad because I haven't really gotten to play, you know, stream with them or anything lately. I haven't really honestly done a whole lot of anything. Like, my gaming has been so sporadic, like here and there. I grab it when I can, but like I'm hoping that, like, that, you know, like that kind of stuff, if we can figure out more of plans for things, and you know, actually try to like figure things out ahead of time, so it's, you know, it's not as big of a deal, because that's my problem, is like I can do things like streaming and all that, and like doing stuff for the show, but it's just a matter of sometimes I just got to try to plan it, so I, you know what I'm doing ahead of time, and you know, set things up. But because, you know, that, like, obviously if the Patreon stuff, it's, you know, we're not doing this like a job. It's just kind of like, you know, we've had people in the past who, you know, listeners who have said, hey, you know, if like you guys ever do have something like that, like I'd be willing to support you guys. It like just gives people who listen a chance to, if they want to, you know, help support. Because I mean, this isn't free, you know, it isn't free on our side, you know, some of the stuff that, you know, costs a little bit and stuff like that. And, you know, and Corey puts a lot of time into editing stuff, and, you know, his time is worth something, I feel like, you know, so,
it's
and, you know, so
I mean, it's not just that though. It's like everybody's putting their time, you know, like, and you know, like it to give people some behind the scenes look at this. Like, a lot of the times we record this show in the middle of the day on a Saturday, when, like, you know, most of us, you know, especially me and Jesse, we have wife and kids, you know, like in spending the middle of the day on a Saturday is not like ideal, but like that's time away, you know, and from that, and we just kind of want to, like, you know, that's the only time we have to get together, and like we love doing it so much that like we're willing to sacrifice a couple hours in the middle of a Saturday to do that, you know. And you know, we you know, we try to do stuff on Saturday nights too, and it's, the scheduling kind of sucks, you know, just because everybody's on different schedules and different shifts and stuff. And the last couple of weeks for me in particular at work have been kind of long, and you know, I worked almost 52 hours last week. It's like, you know, it's not, I mean, I know a lot of people work more than that a lot of the time, but like it's not like insignificant amount of time. And so like, you know, I think everybody here, and even Ray that's not here, like the time that we put into the stuff that we do, like, deserves some sort of reward or credit. And, you know, like Jesse said, we're not trying to do this as a full-time job. I mean, it would be sweet if we could.
Awesome.
But and, you know, like maybe one day we could get there, but at the moment, like, you know, it would be nice for everybody to like upgrade a microphone once in a while, or, you know, get a computer or a capture card or, you know, something that we like need to make the stuff that we want to do better, you know, and that's kind of like the goal of that type of thing. So, I mean, it would be cool to be like the next Min-Max or Kind of Funny or, you know, Colin's Last Stand or whatever, or Easy Allies, but like that's not where we're at. We don't have the time to be that, right? So like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, we want a podcast. We want to do a couple more podcasts, right? We want to interview people. We want to, you know, and I think, you know, a little bit of support from our fans if they want, right? Like, like we've discussed, you know, like 95% of the content we want to do is still going to be free, right? Like we do have plans for like a Boss Rush Plus where we dive into a topic once in a while, or like, you know, if you support us on a Patreon, you get to vote on the next video game book club that we do, right? Like that's kind of the thought process through that. But, you know, the whole it, and you know, I like I said, I watched a video on how to ask people for your money through Patreon and not sound like an asshole to you know, and it was a really interesting video, you know, and it always sucks asking people for money, right? It's not like we want to ask people for money, but like at the same time, I think all of you deserve a lot of credit and a lot, like, deserve some sort of reward for the work we've put into everything we've ever done, not just Boss Rush, but like, you know, in the next couple weeks, I showed Ed the new website today, right? Like the next couple weeks, I'm going to be uploading all the old Arsenal X stuff as, you know, classic content from our old stuff, right? Like, you know, all the old squad goals until we start recording more, and all the old pod and plays and all the old Royale with cheese, that kind of thing, right? Like I think it'll be cool to look back on that, and people who have just found us as Boss Rush or the NX show to see that kind of content too. Like, you know, Jesse, I think what, it's gonna be almost 2 years now, and Ed, we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years, right? Like, I think our first episode of Pal Block, at least on DNA, was in like early 2016 or something.
No, 2014.
Oh, geez. Yeah. See, even then, like, that, I mean, that's when I started doing this. So, I mean, it's been a lot, you know, and we all kind of want to get our foot in this door where, like, the, you know, it's like a packed house, and we kind of just want a little piece of the pie. Like, we want to kind of carve out not a little piece of the pie, that sounds bad, like our little corner of the internet where we have a positive community, a fun community, a community that, you know, enjoys playing together and being together. Like I started the Boss Rush Games Xbox community, right? Because that's where we all mostly play, right? I'm going to set up a PlayStation community also for people who listen to us and have PlayStations, right? You know, and I just am setting up the Facebook community now. We're going to have a Discord in the next couple weeks. Probably, you know, by the time the show goes up, I hope to have one. You know, and that's, I want everybody to feel like they can come to Boss Rush and find positive people to play with, make friends, you know, even, you know, play with us if they want, you know, and feel like they're contributing to something. You know, we have a couple fans that have listened to us for a long time, like Deshaun, you know, like I've met him a couple times because he lives in the area, right? And I asked him if he ever wanted to, like, come on a show. He's like, no, I just want to contribute to the community and be part of the community, you know, and that's totally cool with me, right? Like, if we can have cool leaders in the community like Deshaun or you know, Megan Green has been in our community for a while, or, you know, a couple other people, like, if we can have a strong community leadership and that can, you know, kind of mod it for us, like, I think we have that going for us, you know. Even Greg or you know, a couple other people, like, it's I think we have a really cool community, you know, and I know I need to interact more in the community and stuff. It's hard when you're busy, but hopefully, you know, the stuff we want to do can kind of fix all that. And you know, in just on like a personal note, instead of focusing on like 3 or 4 different projects, I can now focus on one. So you know, it's you know, the last couple of weeks and, you know, kind of wrapping up certain projects and putting a bow on Nerds Gone Rogue and sending that, you know, out and you know, trying to wrap up personal stuff that I was working on and kind of want to, you know, kind of push into this, kind of merge it into this. And I think Boss Rush is going to be something special. I really do, you know, and I mean, I already think it is something special, but you know, the things we want to do, and you know, the old movie commentaries we were doing, like I was listening to the Ninja Turtles ones the other day, and like I want to like after listening to the first 2 Turtles movie commentaries, I want to do like, I don't know if you guys listen to Kind of Funny reviews or anything, but like they go through movie series and kind of just review them in order. And like, I really want to just review those Turtles movies instead of just the movie commentaries, and like, maybe put the movie, like our old movie commentaries on the back end of those. But like, if we just sat and like reviewed the Turtles movies, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Well, honestly, I was thinking about, you know, with Disney Plus being such a big thing, there's so many things on there that we could, you know, talk about and go over and do that kind of stuff with, because like I love the Gargoyles. That was like one of my all-time favorite cartoons growing up, and like there's so much of our childhood on there. Like
we should review every episode of The Simpsons.
Oh no! There's already a podcast called Talking Simpsons.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But but I get what you're saying. Like I think doing like a reviewing the streaming services, like shows on the streaming services by like season or whatever, would be super fun. Like I think Gargoyles would be awesome, because I added it to my watch list today after I watched The Mandalorian. And like, by the way, been watching The Mandalorian. So good. Very good. I'm quite pleased with it. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not one of these people with like a pitchfork and a torch and I'm going to burn down George Lucas's house or anything, right? Because of the prequels or anything. Like, I mean, I don't think the prequels are very good, but I don't think they're like terrible, you know, like I like the new trilogy so far, right? Like,
yeah, I do. I love it. I'm one of the very few that exists in the world where I actually prefer it over the original. I think it's so much better.
What, the new trilogy?
I love the original, but I just love the new trilogy so much.
I do too. You know, I really like The Force Awakens. I actually rewatched it. I rewatched that and Rogue One, and like I was, you know, I mean, I know we want to get back to Boss Rush, but like I was watching, like I rewatched Rogue One, and I was one of those people at the beginning where like I didn't really think the movie itself was like that great, you know, like but I love the end scene where Vader is just like murdering everybody. Like I love that I love that scene, because it's like the first time like Vader is always scary, right? Like he's like a scary villain, but like he's
never been a scary villain.
No, but like when you're watching the end of Rogue One and he like he's scary, you know, like he's not just like Darth Vader, like in the original trilogy, he's scared, like you're scared of him because he's, quote, the bad guy, right? But when you turn on Rogue One and you're watching it, he's like imposing, he's powerful, he's forceful, he's using the Force and his lightsaber, like, and that's what makes him scary. And
that's why I always wanted from the original movies with him. I wanted him to be like be threatening and like intimidating, and he's not that in the original.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm with you, Ed, in that. Like he's like, you're supposed to be afraid of him because he's the bad guy, but like in Rogue One, man, when like that scene in the hallway when all of a sudden you just hear, like, it gets quiet and you just hear him start breathing and you just see the red beam of the lightsaber come out and they all just start opening fire and he just murders everybody. And then, like, when the ship just gets away and you see him standing there, like, imposed, like, watching the ship go away and his capes flap, like, he like,
I now want to watch Rogue One again. Yeah. Like, it's such a good movie.
And, like, you know, that scene is cool, but, like, overall, like, the new, like, since Disney has bought Star Wars and Lucasfilm, like, I really like The Force Awakens, and I really liked Last Jedi too, you know, like
me too.
That's the one I need to watch.
And I really liked Solo. Like, I didn't think Solo was a terrible movie.
I gotta watch that one too. I have The Last Jedi and Solo. I just need to watch them.
Yeah, Solo, like, to me, like, it had its parts where it felt like a Star Wars movie, but I think what it is for some people it just didn't, like, there's the way it plays out, it just didn't feel quite as much like a Star Wars movie. But yeah, like, I don't, that's the thing, I don't really think it's bad. And even, you know, within the last trilogy, you know, there was things that I obviously really didn't care for about it, but there was a lot of really great stuff. That's why, like, I actually have gone back and I watched that edit that I forget what famous person it was that was trying to learn how to edit video, and he edited all 3 movies together and just made it into one big, like, 3-hour long thing, and he cut out a whole bunch of stuff that didn't matter. And I've actually gone back and watched that, and I liked it that way, like, with all the stuff cut out, like all the fat. So
and like, talking about Solo and, like, moving into, like, the Mandalorian, like, I like the feel of the Mandalorian. It feels like it feels like the original trilogy, but, like, modernized, but still, like, the practical effects and stuff. Are you caught up? Are you caught up, Jesse? Did you watch the 3rd episode?
Yep.
At the end, didn't it just like scream Halo to you?
Yeah, kind of.
I tweeted out today. I'm like, I want the Mandalorian team to do the Halo show. Because, like, it reminded me of the scenes in Reach where they're, like, all together and you have the big what's his name, George, with the Gatling gun, and like, it was cool. Like, and I don't know if you're, like, super into Star Wars or not, but you should watch the end scene in the 3rd.
I don't have Disney Plus. I'm not.
I'm sure somebody put it on the internet already, but it's awesome. Like, it's like all the, like, the underground Mandalorian, and spoilers for the Mandalorian, I guess, but, like, at the end they're all underground and only one Mandalorian comes above ground at a time because they like are in hiding or whatever. But this is a scene where they all come out and they're all fighting these other bounty hunters, and it looks like a scene from Halo, right? Like they're all flying around with their jetpacks, and then they all land, and the one big one looks like George from Halo Reach with a Gatling gun, and he just starts mowing people down with this Gatling gun. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's pretty good. Like, there was one thing though, just kind of going backwards a little bit, I just wanted to touch on really quick before we move forward, about the original Darth Vader versus now. I think part of the problem is in the original films, I feel like he was more about being intimidating with his words and not actions, and in Rogue One we get to see him show us why, like, with his actions he's intimidating, because honestly, obviously the effects during that time were fairly new and stuff, so I feel like they couldn't go quite as over the top with things, without costing way too much money, because you got to remember those original films were pretty were cheaper, cheaper made.
It just felt like disjointed to me. I was just like, this is the fear I want. Be evil. Give me that evil. And then I look at the original movies and be like, I don't like you.
Yeah.
But
well, I think what happened is it was too much of a Western. There was too much Western in it because Westerns, it's all about these badass guys sitting around a bar talking trash to one another, and and they'll have like one shootout scene or something where they just take everyone out really quickly, and it was all about talk and using your words, and maybe it, and for the time it was fine, like I said, because it would have obviously costed a lot more money if they would have had more effects being used.
I was eating my popcorn and drink like as a kid, trying to get to the next scene. But we're gonna move on.
Just to finish up on like Boss Rush games, like our motto is play games, be better, right? And that's like, be better could mean a lot of things, but like the double meaning of it is like, yeah, you play games to be better at the games, but also like play games be better is like play games as a community and be better people and help promote being better people. Like we've met a lot of people that are different from us playing games, like it's not just it's not just a boys club anymore. How many friends have we met through Mixa that are female, or even Ed is totally different from you and me, Jesse, right? Like he's completely the opposite of us, and Ray, like I know a lot of people roll their eyes when a straight white guy says that we all need to be inclusive, right? But that's like the goal, right? I don't care who you are, how you identify, like your sexuality, your orientation, your gender, whatever. If you are a good person and you want to play games with other good people, you're welcome here, right? Like that's the idea, that's the goal, and that's what I want Boss Rush to be. And if you want to be a part of this community, like just if you're a good person, you are welcome here, So all the links are out there. You can the NX, if you're already in the NX community, you're already in the Boss Rush community, right? Like that's just, we've already made that switch. If you've already follow us on Twitter, it's boss_rush_games. Boss Rush Games was taken, hasn't tweeted since 2013 or whatever, but it's taken. So just if that's all I had to say. We are building a Patreon page. It's not going to be ready. I want to have a group discussion before we do anything about tiers and how you can support us and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's it. Boss Rush Games, play games, be better. That's kind of it. Simple and fun. That's what I want it to be. So, and yeah, that's all. Yeah. Sorry, that was a very roundabout conversation saying that.
Yes.
Hey, we have all night, everybody.
So everybody, we're going to get into our gaming get down, then we're going to get into news, and then we got a listener question that is going to be very interesting to talk about, because I was thinking about it when I read this question, and I can't wait to hear everybody's answer. So let's get
Depends on which one it is, because I think the one that I know of is super easy, and I think the whole entire world has the same answer for it.
Yes, but we're gonna get into this gaming get down. I'm actually going to start because I finished Rage 2 on Xbox One. Only had to do a final mission. I died a little bit, but not at the boss. The boss was really easy to get through. It was just kind of getting there for some things, and I'm just like, okay, if I want to do New Game Plus, I'm able to go to. It opens back up, so it kind of lets you continue on if you miss anything on your original playthrough before you go to New Game Plus. So I did that. Started like I'm playing Pokemon Sword, really enjoying that, doing battles, trading, Dynamaxing, like leveling up, finding these new Pokemon. Been having a blast, like giving my Pokemon's nicknames. There's a skunk looking Pokemon that I named Drump. So like he looks like a certain 45, I would say. So I'm kind of doing stuff like that, but I'm really enjoying this game, loving the music. I think they should add more DLC to this for the clothing and the haircuts and stuff like there, because if you're a male in this game, you don't get that many options like you do as a female. But I'm really am enjoying this game. Beautiful artwork, love the music. Just really love like seeing people who they're collecting, who they're trading cards with in the these max rays and stuff. It's like it's really cool, and everybody, well, most of the people that I've been looking at on Twitter talking about the game, they've been doing stuff slowly and taking their time, and that's kind of how this Pokemon game is. Some people have already beaten it. Some people think it's too easy and stuff, but I'm just like, it's cool taking your time and grinding and leveling up your Pokemon and getting that new evolution of them. Just like, man, and there's so much to this that you don't realize. Like, it's so good. Still playing a little bit more sort of Ditto. Been enjoying Luigi's Mansion 3. Like, really enjoyed that game. Like, I really want to finish it before the end of the year. Like, I still need to jump back into Astral Chain, Fire Emblem. Like, I want to finish a lot of the first party Nintendo games and everything. And yes, Breath of the Wild I need to finish also. I haven't played anything.
I still can't believe that you haven't finished that yet.
I know.
Yeah. There you go. That's the most disappointing thing of 2019.
It's the most disappointing thing of 2017.
Yeah.
Just carries over.
You hush it and you hush it. Both of y'all.
Until he finishes it.
Don't worry.
It'll be next year. It'll still be disappointment.
Don't worry when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. Ed won't have finished Breath of the Wild 1, and it'll still be the most disappointing thing of 2023 whenever that game comes out.
Well, that's the thing. I'm going to see if I can't find someone who can figure out like a program or something that I can like secretly install onto his Switch that doesn't let him play the second one until he finishes the first one.
Oh, please. It's called me having a job and buying another one, buying another Switch and buying that game.
No. It'll be directly linked to your account.
No, it won't.
Yep.
And did you go and support him? Boss, just never mind. Of course.
I mean, look, I've only beaten one game this year, so I don't have any room to talk. But
yeah.
I've been busy.
Yes.
No, I just get tired and go to bed.
Of course, it's everybody's checking our retro play. I've been doing The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Me and Corey.
I've been clapping every time he dies. It's awesome.
He does. He was like, clack. I was watching the last one, and I just like how the show starts, and it's just a clapping thing, and I just bust out laughing. Like, yeah. So, we're playing that. We got 2 more dungeons to get through, and then we going to end up finishing the game. But hopefully you guys are checking that out on Boss Rush Games YouTube page. Really hope you guys are enjoying that. I am loving like replaying this game. It feels really good having these discussions and everything. But other than that, that's pretty much all I've been doing, and that's the games that I've been getting down to. I am going to be jumping back into Okami. Hopefully, get back into Remnant from the Ashes with you, Jesse.
Yeah.
Just
and
like
Corey, we can too.
Yeah,
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, and I. So side news to this, there's rumors, or we don't know actually officially. There's a team working to like rebuild Anthem at BioWare, and I'm really excited that they're doing this. And I really want to see where they go with this. I'm glad that they're not giving up on this game, because Anthem is really good. It might not did what it was supposed to do with a lot of people, but I'm hopefully this Anthem, I want to say like version 2.0 or version 1.5 or whatever it's going to be. Like, I really hope they what they improve and revamp. Like I really hope there's a brand new story and cutscene, or just really added like DL, like almost like free DLC. Like it's a whole new campaign for the game. I really want to see what
it's gonna be like No Man's Sky is what I imagine. You know?
I mean, a lot of people forget like the original Destiny, right? And I know like it's a different situation because Destiny was kind of like, besides like PC MMOs, Destiny was really the first game to kind of attempt this on console, right? And
Yes.
Destiny for a year was not great, right? It was barely good, right? Like it was the same situation as Anthem where like the mechanics were good. Like I think flying and shooting in Anthem are fun, right? Like that was never the problem. The problem was like, oh, I can't really explore this world without, unless I go into this specific thing. I can't change my loadout unless I go back to the base. I can't do this, or this, right? But like, Destiny was very similar, where like the mechanics were good, but I don't think anybody really truly knows what happens in that original campaign still to this day.
Yeah.
But like the only good part of Destiny 1 was that first raid, right? Like that, like the Vault of Glass until the Taken King came out, and that was a year later. What's Anthem going to look like a year, 16, 18 months after, right? Like if they stick with it. I mean, and look at the Division 1 as well, right? That game, a lot of people did not like the Division at first, right? Like it was a good cover shooter and the campaign was pretty good, but like what was the end game? What are you doing? And I feel like I don't think Anthem is as bad as a lot of people say it is. I still think like it doesn't feel like a BioWare game, but like I don't think it's trying to be like Dragon Age or Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate, right? It's trying to be a new thing from them, which I think is fine, and I think trying new things is fine. I think that the problem with Anthem is like the end game and like how the gear works and how the systems work after you get that far, right? And so, I mean, I like I said, I don't think Anthem's as bad of a game as people say it is. I didn't finish the campaign, mostly because I didn't really have a lot of time to like putz around in it and wanted to play different games and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but like, I'm glad EA is actually doing this. I'm actually quite surprised they're just not abandoning it, right? Because EA has always seemed more along the lines of, Activision instead of something like you said, Jesse, No Man's Sky or Ubisoft, where they stick with their games and they make it better. They're mostly about the bottom line, but to see them do this with Anthem, I think is very cool. And like, like I said, probably during the summer when they had all the executive changes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think we're gonna, like I said then, I'm like, I think we're gonna see a different EA in the next couple years because of this executive change, and I think this is the first step in that direction, and it makes me quite excited, along with the announcements of like remasters and remakes and returning old franchises, right? Like that gives me hope for like a Mass Effect trilogy or another Dead Space. Like what if they quote unquote reboot Dead Space and give us a cool horror game? I think they can do it, and this is the first move of many, I hope, that are in a positive direction for them.
Yeah, and I feel like BioWare is super talented, and I will always give them their props after playing the Mass Effect trilogy, and playing some of their other games. I might have a problem with some of their older titles, but like BioWare, they want to bring a really big experience, and they're very talented to do it. And to see how it feels like when EA get their hands on stuff that they don't need to like really touch or anything, I think it ruins the product of theirs. Like, and I think that's why Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is kind of successful. I think EA kept their hands away from Respawn and let Respawn do what they needed to do. Like, I think if they're gonna go forward with their business and stuff, EA needs to the people, the higher ups at EA need to keep their hands off and let the developers do what they need to do and really bring out a fun product without putting all this business stuff into it. That's gonna like really hurt the game because when you find out there's a lot of microtransactions and all this crazy stuff added to a game, it really turns the players off to it. And the response to that game, not out of the developers' fault, I think, but like I think because of the some of EA's partners putting their hands and stuff into it, people start blaming the developers for the product that comes out. So I really can't. I really hope to see something really big come out from the new Anthem. I really want to see this big thing come out from Bioware because I feel like they're a company that they don't need to close. And if it took another company to do what Nintendo or Microsoft did, like with Rare, like how they sold off Rare to Microsoft, I would love to see EA sell Bioware to someone else.
Or even like BioWare pull a Bungie and just buy themselves back from EA, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, I always thought like I always thought maybe like especially after like Microsoft was making all these acquisitions and especially going after In Exile and Obsidian, like maybe Microsoft would go in and quote unquote save BioWare and like buy them from EA. But I think BioWare still is a brand that EA wants to be proud of again, if they're taking the direction I think they might be taking. And, you know, I know a lot of people have left in BioWare. It's a different BioWare, but people leave studios all the time, right? Like, look at Bungie, right? And the team that made Destiny is not the same team that made Halo 1 and 2, right? Like, that's just not. Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I'm quite excited. I think, you know, Anthem is a cool idea that just wasn't executed properly, but if they can come back and fix it and say, hey, we're going to try to do this and make it good, hopefully you guys stick by us, I'll go back and play it, right? Like, I'm always willing. I mean, look, I did it for Destiny. I did it for The Division for a little bit. Like, if your game has a cool idea and people are starting to talk positive about it, I'll come back to it, you know? So
yeah,
I already bought it.
Well,
so.
Yeah, that's kind of been a theme for me this year. Like just with certain games, there's just certain games I still don't have yet. Yeah. Some of them newer that I'm just kind of waiting for some issues to be fixed. That like it's not that it's a bad game. It's just there's certain things that need to be taken care of. And you know, and I just kind of, when, you know, especially when you don't have money, like you don't want to spend money on something, you know, without knowing that you're going to be able to really appreciate and enjoy it, you know. And so, like, yeah, there's some games that are still on the list that I want to get, but I've been hearing about issues with them, and it just seems like that's kind of unfortunately been a theme this whole year. Well, you know, is just a lot of games with some issues and things like that off the bat, and then they do get fixed and it's better, you know.
Well, not even just this year, but like a game I've actually been, because like I've been watching The Mandalorian and highly anticipating Jedi Fallen Order, which I just downloaded. Yeah. And I'm going to play after we record. I don't care how tired I am.
Yeah.
I went back and started playing Battlefront 2. And like they changed so much of that game since launch that like it was almost like a completely new game. They changed the way your characters level up. They changed the way like the currency works, and like the skins they originally wanted to put in, but Disney wouldn't let them, are now in the game. Like there's like this chef Count Dooku where he has like it looks like a chef outfit. I don't know if it's like really a chef outfit, but it looks like a chef outfit. There's a pink Darth Vader in there. There's like different colored Darth Mauls in there, and there's some really funny skins in there that I'm like, oh wow, I can't believe Disney actually let them do this. And like it made me smile in a weird way. like because like that game is a pretty game. Like it, like some of the screenshots and stuff and cutscenes and stuff that they show in that game like look better than the prequel trilogy movies do in some ways.
Wow.
So yeah, like I mean that's a game that changed over 2 years, and there's a lot of content and a lot of fun stuff in that game, and there's a co-op campaign in that game now, and alongside the original campaign, like it's like that's just another example of like a team working hard on a game that people didn't really care for at the beginning, you know, and
yeah, and in turn, it's also a perfect example of people talking with their money and getting things to be addressed and stuff like that. I'm hoping the same thing is kind of the coming from that with Anthem. I mean, a lot of people bought Anthem, but I'm just glad that they're addressing those issues across the board with with a lot of their games. It seems like they're starting to finally take notice of people's frustrations with their practices. So.
Well, Corey, I'm turning it over to you. What games have you been getting down to?
Well, like I said, I played a little bit of Battlefront 2 because I wanted to check out some of the. They added some Rogue One stuff and some Last Jedi stuff in the last couple of years, and it's it's still Battlefront. It feels good. Like the characters look cool. Like I still don't really know how like you upgrade to like a hero. I think you have to like get kills and get points, and you save your points up to purchase heroes and go in and slaughter people. The air battle stuff in that game really makes me want an HD Rogue Squadron style game. Like I think it would be really cool if they made like a Rogue Squadron taking place in the new trilogy. Like I think that would be really cool, and that's kind of the game that I kind of want to see. But all the models look cool, all the ships look cool. It's a fun game. I've been kind of scrolling through my backlog of stuff a little bit. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 12 on Switch.
Yes.
I'm not very far in that game. I just kind of been wandering around that opening area of the city, and I forgot how much like I really liked that game when it came out. It's a cool game, and I'm glad I bought it, but I'm kind of sad because all the Final Fantasy games are coming to Game Pass, and I didn't really get to say my thoughts on XO 19. Maybe we'll get into that if we have time at the end. But that game is cool. I really like it, and I think if you guys want a good RPG, you should play it. Also, I think since the last time I was on, I played a little bit of Dragon Quest 11. The demo.
Okay.
That's a very cool game. I talked about it on Palblock, but when you start up that game, you have a real like fantasy JRPG vibe to it, right? Like it's the the art is very Dragon Quest and everything, but you expect them to like be. I told Ed I compared it to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 when you load up that game and Rex is British and it kind of like throws you off a little bit because you're expecting like anime style voices and whatever. I was kind of expecting like an Ash Ketchum style voice when I loaded that up, and he was a British like man. I'm like, whoa, Rex is clearly like a teenager, and this British man is talking. Like, what is happening? But when I turn on Dragon Quest and you get to that first area, and your first kind of companion is a blonde girl, and you get her scarf, and when she tells you thank you, she's extremely Irish, like. Extremely Irish to the point where it's like, whoa, like it really threw me off. I thought like I honestly thought I hit the sound on the TV and it was playing sound through a different output. Like that's how jarring it was. And I was like, oh man. And then you get through the town and everything. Everybody else sounds like you would expect them to sound in a JRPG. She's just Irish. So, and the dog was fun, but then Ed informed me that you don't get to keep the dog as a companion, and it made me sad. So, no, it wasn't you, Ed. It was somebody else. It was somebody from work. I'm sorry. I keep getting our conversations mixed up. So I play a little bit of that. And then I think I'm either on the last or the second to last mission in Fire Emblem. So I will be finishing that up this week because I told myself I wasn't going to start Luigi's Mansion until I beat Fire Emblem, and I'm getting it tomorrow. So
Yes.
yeah. But I haven't really been playing like a lot just because I moved last weekend, and I mean, hopefully if you're watching the video version, you can see that the office area is different.
Different, yeah, than you're used to.
So my soundproofing won't stay up though, which is not great. So I have to figure that solution out. But yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing. What? There was one other thing I played last week that was kind of different, but I kind of forget. So it must not have been that important. So, I played some Master Chief Collection. I played some of the Halo 2 anniversary multiplayer, and like I just did the mixed playlists, and I checked Halo 2, 3, and 4 because like I like Halo 1, it's fine, right? But I like the way the other games. I like the way Halo 2, 3, and 4 feel specifically. Because like 2 and 3 feel the same, and then 4 kind of feels like an upgraded version of 3 with a sprint button. So played a lot of. There's a mode in there that's called SWAT BR, which is just battle rifles.
Yeah.
Oh, that mode is so good. I wish they would bring that back for Halo 5. There's no
Halo 6.
Or no, I wish they would have brought it back in Halo 5. Like they just didn't bring I mean, SWAT is like a playlist in there, but it's not BRs. It's like I think it's DMRs actually in Halo 5, but like there's no radar. It's one shot kill to the head. Like it's like your health is like half. It's just a really good mode. It's a cool mode that I wish would come back in some form in future Halos. So that's
I forget. Can you make your own matches and like edit stuff and be able to like you probably can, but you can only invite people though, right?
Yeah.
Can't you do? Yeah,
it's there.
That would be cool if they would like do like almost like a Battlefield style thing with servers where you could go on and you could search for different game types and actually like
well, I know
if you start one
sometime like either with Reach or sometime after, they're bringing the Forge back to Master Chief Collection.
Okay.
And they're literally taking all the maps from Halo 3, ODST, and Reach that people made on 360 and importing them into the Master Chief Collection, and you'll be able to play, like, search and play those maps.
Nice.
So that's going to be super interesting.
Which reminds me, I really need to go buy Halo Reach next week.
Well, that's like, I mean, it's only $8 if you don't have Game Pass. It's included.
Yeah.
It's included in Game Pass, but it's
Do you get it if you already own the original version? No. Okay, no. It's its own standalone thing.
Well,
okay.
If you I mean, Reach is backwards compatible on 1, but
yeah, because I have it, but I don't.
Yeah.
Just don't have the obviously the new one yet, but
yeah.
I didn't know if that was something that they would include if you already own the original, like you'd get the upgraded version.
Yeah.
But
there are some games that actually did that though, like Burnout Paradise did that, where like I own the 360 version and I have the remastered version now, and then like Mark of the Ninja Remastered I have just on Xbox One because I have the original version, which is weird.
Oh, okay.
So like so some games do that. I don't know if they're gonna allow people to do that, but that'd be cool. If you own Reach digitally, you just get it in the Master Chief Collection. I think that'd be kind of a cool goodwill move.
Shoot, I would love to be like, oh, we recognize that you have the Master Chief Collection, but not Halo Reach. So here's just add it on. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that would have been nice because like ODST, I felt like they did that only if you own the original that you got it got ODST for Master Chief Collection.
You had to buy the Master Chief Collection before a certain date.
Oh, that's
and
what
then
it
you
was.
got ODST for free. But I missed getting the Master Chief Collection by like a week because I was getting it for Christmas, and so
yeah.
I mean it's $5. Like $5 is nothing, right? So I didn't mind paying that for ODST. It's a great game. So
yeah.
But that's
which we need to play sometime yet.
I know.
Yeah, I need to pick that one. I need to buy that one.
That's one that's fun to play multiplayer.
I want to do like ODST and Reach squad goals, like the 3 or 4 of us at some point, because like both of those games are 4 players. So, but yeah, that's all. That's kind of all I've been playing. Like I said, I haven't really died. I play a little bit more of the Outer Worlds too. I have a list of games I would like to finish before we do our game of the year discussions. So that's, but you know, time.
Yeah. And for me, unfortunately, it's money because there's some games that I really wish I could play before the end of the year, but I'm just not going to be able to get them.
Yeah.
So I got to start saving what we have for Christmas and stuff. So, because I really want to play Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah.
But just because I've been hearing so many great things about it, and it sounds like it would be a perfect game to play with Max, my son. So.
Yeah.
But
that reminds me, my daughter was watching. We were watching like old like Mickey Mouse cartoons on Disney Plus today. And then I turned on The Mandalorian, and she was watching The Mandalorian and was like getting really into it. And she's 16 months old, and it was really funny to watch.
She's like,
that baby Yoda. That baby Yoda is so cute.
It's not Baby Yoda. This takes place after Return of the Jedi. No, I'm just kidding. I know, I'm just kidding. There's a meme. There's a meme floating around that just said that it's like Baby Yoda's so cute, and then the next thing says it's not Baby Yoda, and then the next thing says like, well, we don't know what Yoda is, and he's dead, so for now it's Baby Yoda.
Well, yeah, and wasn't Yoda like 1,000 years old or something crazy like that? I thought in the originals, anyways. Thought he was like super old.
Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Well, Jesse, what games you been getting down to?
Well, I'll continue off of what Corey was saying because I also played some Master Chief Collection. I went on there and it kind of keeps track of your progress of all the games, like whether you've completed them or not. Yeah. And so I noticed, like we had started Halo 2 for a little bit there. Remember, all 3 of us, I believe, played it for a little bit.
Yeah.
The story. And so that progress is on there, but I didn't have any progress on Halo 1, so I started that. I started the story mode of that, and I was playing that for a while.
Man,
just enjoy. I mean, I know those ones are a little bit harder to go back to, but they're still fun. So, and I just kind of, it's been so long since I played them, so I wanted to go back.
Halo 1's campaign is fun co-op, but going back to that and playing it single player is like, it's really hard to go back to, especially like some of the bigger open levels, like that second level.
Yeah.
Is like, where do I go? And like the only thing you have is like there's like little beacons that you kind of travel to, and it takes you to the next area. But like, if you don't know what you're looking for, man, that level is so big. And like I was reading, like, Halo was planned to be like an RTS style game for computers, and like that level was like one of the maps they made for their RTS, and they just scaled it down. Like they just like literally scaled it down, but it was meant to be an RTS map, which is why it's so big.
Wow.
So yeah. But yeah, Halo 1 is like, the campaign specifically is like really hard to go back to, even though like at the time, like it was probably just as good as something like another game that it kind of reminds me of is like Half-Life is like really hard to go back to if you didn't play it then, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Which I tried going back to on my Dreamcast. We talked about this last week, I think. And
we did.
It's not made. It was never released for Dreamcast, but it would load every single time I go into a different room. It would give me a loading screen. So it's like, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna. But I went back and I was playing that, and like for me the hardest part about going back and and doing it by yourself is it just the AI just wasn't that great. And it's like when you have to drive the Warthog, and then one of them's on the gunner and whatever, they just aren't very good. So yeah, that was kind of an issue. Like getting help from the AI wasn't that great, but I played that. I want to go back to Devil May Cry 5 because I started that a while ago and I was really enjoying what I played. But actually before we started the show, I was playing some stuff for a little bit, and last night I just I fired up what is it, Afterparty?
Yeah.
And oh my god, am I loving that game so much.
It got a lot of great reviews.
Holy crap, that game is just so good to like normally I don't like conversation stuff in RPG games and stuff where you got to go to someone and talk to them, but just the fact that it's actual voice, like there's actual conversation happening and not just text you're reading, it makes such a big difference. Like that game is just so much fun to just go through the dialogue and everything, and it is hilarious. Like some of the humor in that game is just on point, like just the things that are said, and just like I just found myself like getting completely sucked in and just wanting to keep on playing. Like, so I'm probably gonna, because like I still need to finish Control. I'm enjoying that game a lot, but it's just my issue I'm having is I don't like that there's not like the checkpoints of like when you go through an area, like normally a game would just automatically have a checkpoint. If you die, it's like a Resident Evil or a Dark Souls game where you go back to whatever that last time you went to a save point was. Like an actual, save point that you've got to physically do and choose to go to, so I don't like that part of the game. I don't like that if I die at any point, like if I'm going up to a big boss, it's going to bring me all the way back to the last time I saved. I don't really like that part of it. So that part has really gotten irritating, but the game itself, I think the problem is it affects the movement of just kind of the flow of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the game just really needs that game the way it is, the way everything is set up. It just really needs to have a nice constant flow through the game, and they just don't have it, and it unfortunately affects it a little bit. But I mean, like what they have in that story and everything that's in it like makes up for that one little thing for me. Just because it's just such a cool like world, and just their design of things and how like they make things happen, like like when you're in a room and there's a safe space, like the room looks all weird and it's got these like red block things and stuff. And then once you take over that save space, the whole room kind of like all moves and reconfigures and becomes a solid room that you can, use to go through and look for different clues and objects and things like that. It's just such a cool game. Like, I don't know, like it's just such an awesome world to be in. Like, probably one of my favorite this year. Like, just worlds that I've been in. So I'm enjoying that, and I did play a little bit of that this week as well. But Afterparty, I'm just really liking that game a lot. I'm trying to think. I did play a little Modern Warfare multiplayer, but I think I only played like a game or two. I haven't really been playing much of that. Not because I don't want to. I guess I kind of don't want to. I want to play other stuff as well because I know I enjoy Modern Warfare. But I want to go and try to play some other stuff and go back to some things, before our game of the year talk and all that. So, I'm trying to think. I know I had to have played something else too, but that's all I can really think off the top of my head right now.
Okay. Well, everybody, that has been the games that we have been getting down to. We're going to get into some news bits, and we have quite some interesting things. Valve has announced Half-Life 2. Alyx, that's what it is? Is it Half-Life Alyx?
Yeah, it's Half-Life Alyx. Yeah.
Half-Life Alyx, okay. This
story...
Yeah, well, actually, this is the 5th. If you want to look at it for
like
the whole
those
series.
Other things.
Yeah, because you got Half-Life, you got Half-Life 2, you got Episode 1 and Episode 2, which they never finished. And then you got this one. That will kind of make like 5 official games, I should say. Yeah. Well, this story comes from Game Informer. A few days ago, Valve announced that at long last, players will be returning to the Half-Life universe with Half-Life Alyx. More details on the VR project have emerged. Set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2, the game is scheduled to release in March 2020. It's already another packed month. The game charts the course of Alyx and her father Eli as they mount a resistance against the alien combine. Half-Life Alyx is a full-length entry to the franchise built for VR and is compatible with a variety of VR devices, including Rift and Vive. Those who own or purchase a Valve Index system will get the game for free when it launches. But then there's some pictures that they have it. And you guys could check more of it. So this one, I think people are thinking that this takes place when what's his name, the main character from Half-Life, when he's going through his journey. This is her side that she's going through for, and I think it's going through the episodes in a sense. But what are your thoughts about it? I tried Half-Life 2 and I didn't like it. I didn't play any of the episodes and I never played Half-Life 1. So like this doesn't do anything for me. Maybe this can lead to an official Half-Life 3, but what do you guys think?
For me, I unfortunately I've never really gotten a chance to give it much time either of those games. I mean, I've played them, but I've never really finished them, and it wasn't that I didn't like them. It was just something I never finished. But like for me, like what I'm most interested in is because obviously I don't think this is information they would give right now because it's way too early, but I'm curious if it's going to be something that PlayStation 5 will eventually get. because that it will be more powerful of a console, and that power will make a difference how the whether they have a new headset or the old one, the old one will perform better just because it's running off of a more powerful console, so I'm kind of curious if that will go, because I think that would be a pretty smart move to bring it to console, because I do feel like there will still be a lot of people who've never really been much of a PC gamer, who might have played when they came out with the collections and stuff like that for console.
Yeah.
And will still want to play it, but they don't, they're not in the PC system, or own like any of those bigger, more expensive headsets. So
I wonder if EA still got a contract with Valve to release it on console.
I don't know.
Because of the Orange Box,
Yeah.
EA did all of that.
Yeah.
But I remember playing Half-Life 2 on Xbox, and I think only Valve did that one. EA had nothing to do with it. But I kind of just wonder. What about you, Corey?
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I don't really care about Half-Life a whole lot. Like, I think it was a time and place thing, and it was probably big at the time, but going back now, it's just kind of like, I don't really care, and I'm also one of those people that don't really care for pretty much anything Valve does. Like, I don't care about Left 4 Dead. I don't care about Portal. Like, I just don't care about those games, and Half-Life is no different. I think it's cool that Valve is putting effort and finally putting out something besides like Dota hats, right? But
that card game.
Yeah, well, did they really put that out? I think they kind of retracted a lot of that stuff. But anyways, I think it's cool, and I think the big rumor was Valve was doing a VR game anyway, right? Like, that was the thing, and so.
Because they're invested in it.
Yeah. So I mean, good for them, but like, I don't, and not in like a derogatory way, but I just don't care. I don't have any affinity for Half-Life, but I'm glad that Valve is finally doing something other than like making their store the dominant force of their business. So
yeah. Well, like, I mean, like the thing that, a lot of people, because I feel like there is a lot of people who don't really care for Half-Life as much as, like you hear, like there is a lot of people that like Half-Life, but like, like
I think times pass.
Well, you can't deny that their physics and all the things that they kind of were working on during that time has influenced the gaming industry, in many different ways. Like the whole physics stuff, like because that was really like what they focused on in those games, was trying to work on really pushing the envelope as far as how physics and games work and stuff like that. And once they kind of like perfected it, you've seen a lot of more people kind of trying to emulate that, and I feel like it made things better, in a lot of ways, and pushed other people to experiment in those ways as well.
Yeah, I know for, I guess my assumption, I should say, my assumption for this game is that I haven't seen a lot of reactions to it, a lot of hype for it. I think because it's been so long, more people have just been like, okay, that's cool. At a time that people were crying for Half-Life 3 to come out, I think people were ready for that game, and they would take it anywhere that they could take it. Definitely for Episode 3. Definitely, you just came off of Portal 2. So that should lead to something. What can they do for the next game? But I think it's one of like the Duke Nukem Forever effect, that it's been too long. And I think if they actually decide to do a Half-Life 3, the hype for it won't be there. The excitement won't be there. If they do have the excitement, it's sad to kind of say this, that it kind of had to be on the level of the Shenmue 3 announcement. how people were just like literally lost their mind that Shenmue 3 had been announced and that game now is finally being released. But just the excitement for it. Go ahead, Corey.
I think people want a new Half-Life game. Like, honestly, this is just my opinion from the outside looking in. Like, I think people want a new Half-Life game, but this isn't the one that they want, you know?
Yeah.
I think they want if I was Valve, like, I would be doing Half-Life 2 Episode 3 because I'm pretty sure that Episode 2 ended on a cliffhanger. And at the end, when you beat the campaign, like, I wouldn't say anything, but if you beat the campaign of Episode 3, you unlock a trailer for Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
I like that. For me, that's what I would do if I was Valve, right? Like, I would market Half-Life 2 Episode 3, make that game, and once you beat it, like, you unlock a trailer for Half-Life 3, and that's how people find out about Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
I always kind of wonder what's the story behind Episode 2, why they didn't do a 3.
Because Valve can't count to 3.
Well, that is true. So, well, we're gonna move on because I think this is kind of cool that this is happening. This story comes from Nintendo Life. Race into your nearest Arby's restaurant this winter and grab a Sonic themed kids meal. Sega of America has teamed up with Arby's restaurants across the United States to offer an exclusive toy line on this iconic video game series, Sonic the Hedgehog. These collectible disc toys include Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy Rose, Dr. Eggman, Shadow, and Super Sonic. And we'll be offering kids meals from the 1st of December until February 29th next year. Here's what Ivo Gersalkovich, Chief Brand Officer of Sonic the Hedgehog and Vice President of Sega America, has to say about the partnership in the official press release. We love working with partners who get us, and Arby's does. They've done a great job with the Game of Kids meal to integrate content and encourage collectability. We look forward to delighting fans and new audiences via this program as Sonic races into a landmark year ahead. Sega's also running an in-app promotion in its mobile title, Sonic Dash. If you download or update this game during the promotion, you'll receive 50 red star rings to unlock additional in-game content such as characters and items. Will you be rushing into your nearest Arby's to pick up one of these kids' meals? Sadly, I will be. And because I love Arby's, and I actually have one close to my house. But I think I want to do it just to show, like, collect some and kind of show it on here on Boss Rush podcast, just to see like how it is and everything. But and plus, Arby has been like killing it with the video games, like with it on Twitter and stuff. Like they've been doing a great job with it.
They always do that cardboard art or whatever, the paper art. Yeah, that stuff's really cool that they do on there.
What about you guys? Would you step into Arby's and just get a kids meal? I know you guys actually have kids, but would you give them the kids meal and you keep the toy for yourself as a collectible?
I'd like a lot of the times places like that, honestly, you can go there and say, hey, can I just get the toy? And they'll charge you like $3 or whatever for it. If you really don't want to get a kid's meal and, still want to get a toy, usually they let you, they'll have a price range that they have set that will be for if you want a toy without the meal.
But I want the food.
I know, but you could get a big kid's meal.
In other words, just a meal. Wow. Corey, what about you?
I mean, I don't need an excuse to go to Arby's, so I don't really care about kids' meal toys. I just like, some roast beef and some curly fries, so.
What if they had a Destiny Kids meal?
No comment.
In other words, you would go get it. You would.
Yeah.
Hey, I was hitting McDonald's like crazy back in the day when they had the Mario ones, the Mario toys.
Yeah.
back in like the early 90s.
Oh yeah, well, I was also in the early '90s. I was also like the right age to buy a kids meal. So
Well, shoot, I found $20, and so I went to McDonald's and bought a kids meal. Just like I'm 13
Get
years
those
old.
Beanie Babies.
Oh no. Well, yeah.
yeah, I do.
Everyone did during that time. I mean, let's be honest.
I didn't. No.
I mean, that's why they could pay for their employees to go to like Disney World and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, did you? Yeah, because like my friend Jeff used to work at McDonald's during that time when they would do that every single year. They'd have the Beanie Baby stuff, and if they sold a certain amount, they would pay for the employees to go on like a trip or something like that. So, yeah, it was crazy how much that did for them. But like, as far as me, I honestly, I love Arby's, but I really, for whatever reason, I just don't go that often. I think my kids have only been there once, honestly.
Well, I go on there like on occasion, like when I feel like going there for lunch or for dinner. If I'm coming from home from work, I'll go to Arby's and pick up. Like, definitely when the fast food joints are around my area, when they're all packed and no one's at Arby's, I'm like, let me go hit up Arby's, my food, and back home.
Yeah.
So. Well, we got one last story for everybody. This one also comes from Nintendo Life. CD Projekt's revenue jump aided by sales of Witcher 3 on Switch. Polar Studio CD Projekt has just published its third quarter on earnings report for 2019 and has cited the release of Witcher 3 on Switch as one of the key reasons for a 38% revenue jump year on year. In the last quarter, CD Projekt Capital Group posted 92.9 million PLN in sales revenues, scoring a net profit of 14.9 million PLN. Piotr Neolobelowitz, Vice President and CFO at CD Projekt. I'm doing my best, everybody. Just bear with me.
Sounds good.
If you say so.
Attributed this to the success of the Nintendo Switch port. He quoted on our third quarter revenues were 30% higher than during the corresponding period in 2018. This is due, among others, to increased sales of The Witcher 3, fresh shipments of the game's Nintendo Switch edition, and an increase in revenues posted by GOG.com. The same period saw a great cut to iOS devices, which also contributed to the improved financial records. Were you one of the many who purchased Witcher 3 on Switch? Well, I didn't get it yet. That's on my list to get.
That's
I think
on my
Ray.
list too.
Yes, I think Ray got it or not yet.
I don't
know. I'm not sure. I know I bought it for Xbox and I played it for about an hour and then I ended up selling it again because I'm like, this game is way too big and I have zero time for it.
Yeah, I own it for PS4 and Xbox. So I just need to finish it, but I do want to play it, get it on Switch, for it. So, but that's kind of cool, kind of showing how something that really got laughed at, but people were excited and just like, I'll try it out. It really sold Switches, which is crazy. Like, this game also sold Switches, and people are still playing it on Switch and really enjoying it.
I'm excited for this. Next weekend already it will be. I mean, basically just to hear and see how sales and stuff go over Black Friday and all that for everything, honestly, for all the consoles and games and stuff. Because there's a big swath of the population that waits until for Black Friday to get games and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how the sales go this year for Switch and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, That's it, everybody, for our news bits. We're gonna get into our question corner. Corey, do you have the questions for us?
Just the one from Twitter that you have. I don't really have it in front of me. Hold on. Let me. I kind of.
Well,
I didn't really like. I sent the thing out for Twitter, and then I didn't post it on Facebook because I was trying to get everything else set up for the socials for Boss Rush, and then I didn't ask the question. So
okay.
that's my fault. We'll have more questions next week, but let me pull up the one on Twitter from friend of show, Hypecaster, aka Antonio Guillen. Which, by the way,
I love Antonio.
I know I want to get him on here, especially because, like, in the next couple months, his wife and him are having a baby. So congratulations on that, Antonio.
Nice.
You're always welcome here. He's such a dude. He's so funny and so fun, and has a great personality. Like, the internet needs more of him, and I know he's been kind of doing it on his own recently, and I know he does stuff for Nintendo Village, I think. Some stuff for them. But the internet needs more Antonio, and I hope we can get him on here at some point before his baby comes, because he's just a great dude.
Yes, he is completely amazing. So, Antonio's question. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna read it. But if you want to, but he asked us what our biggest disappointments of gaming in 2019 are. I mean, besides the fact that I didn't get to play a lot more games than I wanted to, yeah, that's my biggest disappointment, is that I didn't get to play as many games. But I don't know. I kind of I did a lot of waiting to see how games would turn out, in terms of reviews and stuff, because I didn't want to spend the money that I didn't have to on games, and with Game Pass and EA Access, it kind of makes it easier to weed out the bad ones and wait for stuff. But I think for me, Anthem would probably be that game, just because in the Division 2 in a lot of ways. Those two games are games that I thought I would spend a lot more time with, and I just didn't. For one reason or another, I just, I got back into Destiny for a while, and, we kind of played the Division 1 before the Division 2 came out, and I was really ready for more Division, and then it turns out I wasn't really ready for more Division. It just kind of, for me, that first game kind of, did a lot right towards the end.
Yeah.
And then the second game was just more of that, and I thought that I wanted more Division, and I guess I just didn't, that was, and that's just a personal thing. I was kind of disappointed that I wasn't more into the Division 2. Not that the game was disappointing itself. I wanted to be more into it, and, I wanted to be more into Anthem. We had a 8-episode run of a Anthem podcast, that Jesse and I were doing, called Javelins for Hire, and I was really wanted to be into it, and it just didn't happen. So I don't know. Those are kind of the two for me. In that I wanted to play more games and finish more games. Those are just personal disappointments. I wanted to finish more games, and like I said at the top of the show, making fun of Ed for not finishing Breath of the Wild. I only finished one game this year. Finished one game, and that was Gris, and that came out last year. Which, by the way, is a fantastic indie game that you guys should all play, and it's on sale on Switch right now.
Yes,
it's such a beautiful game, and and I loved it. I took so many screenshots in that game because of the way the art looks. Some of the art is art that I would want to frame and hang up because it's so pretty, right? That, especially at the beginning when everything kind of turns black and white and you see the crumbling hands kind of laying in the environment and stuff, and just kind of the way like the giant people look when you finish an area and the people reanimate and stuff. Like, it just looks so beautiful, and but that was the only game I finished. And granted, a lot of games I played this year are long games, and I just wanted to move on to another game because I wanted to have something new to talk about on podcasts and stuff. But that's something that I think next year I'm going to try to do better, is play more not play more games in general, but play more of games that I like and try to finish them. And even if they're old games, next year, like I said, I know next spring is kind of packed, especially with like PlayStation and third-party games. And probably, and I'm sure Nintendo will have a huge lineup of games that I will be into. But the first half of next year, I'm playing backlog catch up, right? Like, there's a lot of games in my backlog that I want to play and finish. And I think it's the perfect time with the new consoles coming out next year. Like, there's a lot of downtime, quote unquote. And there'll be stuff on Game Pass like Bleeding Edge. I'm sure Jesse, you and I will play a little bit of, and
already have it installed.
Yeah, and Wasteland 3 looks
Nice.
Wasteland 3 looks cool, and I think Grounded from Obsidian looks kind of interesting. So like, there's stuff on Game Pass that we'll play for content for YouTube or whatever. But because I still want to try do that show What's on Game Pass, where we just kind of record and play the stuff on there.
Because by the way, if just like really quick, if you have Game Pass, Wasteland 3, Bleeding Edge, like a couple of those games you can already pre-install right now on Game Pass. So they're ready once they're available. So
Game Pass, by the way, great deal.
Yeah, get it.
And I know you guys talked about it last week, but what's not disappointing is all the awesome games coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
All the Final Fantasy games, the Yakuza games, which no joke, they're all on sale on PlayStation, and I really wanted to play 0, 1, and 2 Kiwami specifically, because those just seem like the best place to start, right, with the beginning. And like, I was literally hovering over them on PlayStation Network, and I'm like, I really can't be spending money on games right now. They were like $7 and $8 though. They weren't like, $50. They were like under
really
$10, and I'm like, But then I was like, no, I really want to play Star Wars. I need to finish Outer Worlds. I don't have the money to be spending on these right now, so I just turned off my PlayStation. And literally the next day, XO19 was like, Yakuza's coming to Game Pass, and I'm like, oh my god, thank God I didn't spend $30 yesterday. So but back to the question. I'm kind of more disappointed in myself in 2019 in terms of games and just the stuff that we've, I don't know. I've been kind of disappointed in myself for this year. So that's all. Not to get like real sad on this show, but there's a lot that I was trying to do, and a lot of it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And then the second half of the year, we were kind of transitioning into this, and I wanted to make this more of a priority than like playing the game. So like, in terms of playing games, I'm kind of disappointed in me.
Well, welcome to parenthood.
I know,
Corey. It's just started.
My kids.
There's gonna be a lot of.
There's free jukeboxes in the refrigerator.
My kid's one, and she's already disappointed in me. So that's fine.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Jesse, what are your biggest disappointments in 2019?
For me, I kind of touched on this earlier. I think it's just in general, like just kind of looking back on 2019, it's just kind of really been a bummer that there's been so many great games that I really have been interested in that were unfortunately plagued with issues for longer than I would like. Like I've talked a couple of times now about playing the Blair Witch game, and I really enjoy that game, but it's just I keep on having these glitchy issues with it and stuff, and it just seems like they're not doing anything to fix it. I don't know if it's just because it's a small game or what's going on with that. I don't know why they don't seem to be fixing any of that, or maybe it's just not enough people are playing it and saying something about it. I don't know. Anthem, obviously, like, it's a great game, and it's got a lot of potential. It definitely makes me excited once I heard that they were gonna, continue to try to make it better and turn things around. But it was kind of disappointing that it did, have kind of a poor start. And like Corey said, the same with the Division 2. I was kind of disappointed that like, for me, I think they improved so many things and did so many things better than the first one in it. But my main problem was I didn't really care for how much they like their changes to the characters and stuff like that. They made them so they're not as much of bullet sponges, but at the same time they made it really difficult of a game to play by yourself. And I want to just be able to play it by myself and not be stressed out the whole entire time, because they just make it, because some of those missions that I was doing by myself, I don't know how anyone can beat them by themselves. Like, they're just super hard. Like, because they would put you in an area where you're going up against these big brute character, boss like characters, and there's just nowhere to go to avoid, and just kind of, like, to just be able to hunker down and slowly pick guys off without just being shot from every direction, and it felt really unfair at times. I think that for me was a kind of a breaking point for why I kind of lost interest, because if I couldn't play it by myself, there's not really much reason for me to play it, because sure, we could eventually, sometimes I could play it with friends or whatever, but I don't want to be stuck having to only wait until people are free to play it. I want to be able to progress on my own when I feel like it, and I just felt like I couldn't really do it with that game that much. And it's not even that it's too hard. It's not even that it's hard. It's just, it's more unfair than it is hard, difficult. Because, like, I've played Sekiro and stuff like that. I'm fine with difficulty. It's just, it's got to be fair, though. And I felt like it just didn't feel fair at times. Me and Corey, we've been playing the new Gears, and when that game plays well, I really, really have fun with it.
Yeah.
But the problem is it just, there's so many glitchy, just really, really bad bugs in that game.
There's some segments that
just
feel,
really make it.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's some segments that just feel really unbalanced, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you'll shoot a guy in the head, and like they'll do the Gears thing where their head explodes and you feel really good. And then there's other times where you unload like 2 or 3 full clips into guys and they just won't die. Like, of a Lancer, right? That's like, what, each clip is 30 or 40 bullets, and you're unloading. And these are just like grunts or grenadiers. They're not like armored guys or the scions with the heavy weapons, and then some of the heavy weapons guys just take you out in one shot. And granted, we're playing on experienced Gears, I expect a challenge, but like, some of it just kind of feels like artificially challenging, right? Where like they just give they make the enemies do more damage and take less damage, right? Like that's how it feels, and
our major thing was we kept getting killed through a wall by that one big creature that can shoot the things off of the end of its tail. It kept killing us through walls.
Yeah, we were literally hiding in a building because there's 2 buildings that you can hide in from it, right? And we would be inside the building and it would shoot like we could see where it was shooting, but it wasn't near us, and like the tails would explode and just kill us. Like we would just explode. And we were inside a building and we were like, why are we dying?
Yeah. In our final, when we shut the game off, we had a glitch where the whole entire world, every character on the map just blew up, and then next thing you know, we just blew up out of nowhere. There was nothing. Yeah. Like, I don't know what the hell happened, man.
Yeah.
Wow. It was crazy.
And then Jesse and I were just like, we're done.
Okay,
we're done.
We were already tired and ready to end the night, but we wanted to just, because we were basically at the end of that mission. We just needed to beat that boss and then go to set the satellite thing up or whatever. But it was just being so unfair that it was like we were just so annoyed with the game at that point.
Yeah.
And we just were like, we're done.
Yeah, and which is sad because like I really like the way Gears 5 is going. Like I like the story so far. I love the characters. Like I
love the open world.
Yeah,
I love how
stuff
you travel. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's so awesome, but like the moment to moment like action parts of the game are like so unbalanced and discouraging to the point where it's like I want to like continue playing the game, or do I just want to watch the story bits on YouTube at this point? Like which sucks because like I love Gears, but like I don't want to like not play it, and part of me is just like, screw it, let's just bump down the difficulty level and plow through the rest of it, which is probably what we're going to end up doing. But like, I just feel like it is so unfairly balanced, and that's very disappointing, but also very Gears. Gears 4 felt that way when we played through it, Jesse. Mm-hmm. Ed, when we were playing through Gears 1 Ultimate for squad goals for Arsenal X, like some of that, we were playing on normal, I think, and that felt very unbalanced in some places. Granted, it's an old game, and it was it's going to feel unbalanced, but like by the 4th or 6th game in the series, like you should know like how to balance that. There's plenty of shooters out there that can balance that sort of thing, and it just feels unbalanced.
Yeah.
So,
and and I think honestly, I think part of the issue is I think they need to look at what other people have done in the third person world, and swallow their pride a little bit and realize that hey, it's not going to be that big of a deal if we maybe take a different approach to certain things and try to improve it and make it better. Because I'll be honest, like this, like just the way this game is performing, I've had thoughts of like, maybe is there someone who could do this better?
Yeah. Because
I just really been disappointed in this product, like, I don't know, man. Like I just feel like it's like with Xbox, ending this generation and them trying to make things better and stuff, and trying to move forward and to bringing hype and bringing people back to the console. I feel like this was kind of a little bit of a misstep, and like maybe they should have spent a little bit more time on it or something. I don't know, but
but you do got to realize that you guys are playing Gears on a harder difficulty.
I know, but I mean, the thing is like I played through Gears 2 and 3 on insane by myself, and like I wasn't experiencing issues that we're experiencing on a lower difficulty together.
My screen, what happens is a lot of times when we're killing certain enemies, like bigger enemies, my screen will freeze for like 5 seconds or 6 seconds where I can't see anything, I can't do anything, I can't nothing. Like I'm just for 5 to 10 seconds, I'm like completely can't do anything because the game just completely freezes and glitches on me. And those are the kind of things that I have the biggest issue with, is because when Corey's, like we're trying to, like set up a game plan of, okay, you've got to be over here. And like, there's a part where you have the guy on the ice and you've got to destroy the ice so it falls in and freezes. And so then you keep attacking him. Like what was happening is sometimes when he would go into his thing where he's hallucinating and so he can't control his character and I have to do everything. I have to take care of it by myself for a little bit. That's not a great time for my screen to freeze and me to not be able to, react like for a couple of seconds or whatever. And those are the kinds of things were happening.
Which is weird that you're having that you had those problems and I didn't. Like I had none of those problems.
It's because we're playing multiplayer.
Yeah, I think a lot of the issues.
I feel like it's a major issue that's only plaguing the multiplayer version of that game.
Yeah. There's still if you follow the Gears Twitter account in their like the coalition, like they tweet out daily about bug fixes and stuff that they're like the co-op is still broken, like that's
which is weird. I'm like, how's the co-op broken and the single player like it's like perfectly like buttery smooth?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand.
I think it's
weird.
I think it runs a different system, like because of the fact that when you're playing it by yourself, all the characters and the AI in the game are being programmed, being handled through a different program. Whereas when you're playing multiplayer, it's almost like a completely different system. I think. And so I think there's issues in that co-op version of the system or the game, that you're playing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's two different completely almost programmed games. Like I'm sure that a lot of that same stuff can be put, is put in. So there's not like they're making two different games, but there's still a lot of coding that's completely different in that version.
You think the coding is messed up?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of coding messed up with how that game runs.
Yeah, I mean it's not just co-op either. Like it's horde stuff is still kind of messed up too. I think that's been more their focus than like a co-op campaign, especially because like I think a lot of people, if you're gonna play the Gears campaign, that's literally the first thing you do, and then you go play horde or you go play multiplayer, and that's kind of where their focus is. But I like the co-op. I feel like is very broken, and maybe that's why we're experiencing so many issues. Is because like the bugs are there, right? Like, and no pun intended. But when we're fighting big bug monsters, there are bugs plaguing us to death. Yeah. So literally. So I don't know, but
maybe that's probably why a lot of people who do like Gears 5, they played it single player.
Yeah.
And so everybody's just like,
well, that's the thing, and again, it is a great game. It's an amazing game, but it's just those issues need to be fixed.
Yeah, when it works, it's a fantastic game, especially co-op. But like when it doesn't, it really doesn't. Like there's some games where like you're playing co-op and you can understand like, oh man, this is wonky or whatever, but you can push through it. This is literally stuff you can't push through. It just sucks
because it hinders the game.
Yeah, and that's disappointing because Gears is such a fun co-op experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that all, Jesse?
Yeah, like I said, it's just it's been a mix of a lot of little things that have just kind of really been disappointing as far as like, whether it's games just not getting the time they need or whatever it is. It's just kind of really been a bummer that I don't know if it's more of the games that I'm interested in this year just happen to be plagued by bugs, or if it just feels like this year is just, there's been so many games with issues coming out, and I don't know. Hopefully that changes next year and next generation.
I highly doubt that. I really highly doubt it. Well, some of my biggest disappointments, definitely Bethesda and Ubisoft at E3. What were they thinking? They were like kind of boring, kind of tiresome. They didn't really offer anything. In a sense, like watching it, like I did enjoy it, but it should have been more there. And it's just like we love the Xbox conference, how they started off E3. They clown with that. Of course, Nintendo like blew the roof off, like just blown everybody with all their reveals and everything. And Square Enix, they had some good reveals, but like Avengers was disappointing. That really didn't hit it. EA, everybody kind of tuned in to see Jedi Fallen, and people waited. Luckily, the game turned out good. And then they just like pretty much everybody left EA after they saw the Star Wars stuff. But like Ubisoft, like they didn't have nothing really there. Everybody was focused on the dog when it came to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Yeah, Gods and Monsters and Watch Dogs 3, they were okay, but didn't nobody care for the Just Dance stuff. The Ubisoft like Game Pass, their subscription stuff didn't nobody care for. Everybody thought there was going to be a new Tom Clancy game, but that just happened to be more of a mobile game with other characters from the Tom Clancy series. We still haven't seen anything about that TV show that they were doing. Like, didn't nobody care about that? And then Todd Howard's apology for Fallout 76 felt half-hearted. The only thing that really a lot of people really came out of it was the one lady who's making the game, the Ghost game. Like, people really were happy for that. But then everything else just felt by the wayside. So like, that's a shame that the PC gaming conference outdid Bethesda, and like a lot of, you could go watch our ED discussion, and a lot of the games that I was on my list that wasn't Nintendo was kind of from the PC3 conference, and I don't even play PC.
Yeah. One of them we've been playing co-op and enjoying that, Remnant from the Ashes. Like, such a good game.
Like, we seen it and I'm like, whoa, I had to have this. Like half of the PC conference I definitely enjoyed. And like, it was just wild to see that Bethesda and Ubisoft dropped the ball hard this year. Definitely after Microsoft just came in and clown, like with the announcements of Tenant City and Exile, seeing like the Halo Infinite trailer at the end, Cyberpunk and Keanu Reeves coming out. Like, Microsoft snapped that E3, and of course Nintendo like overshadowed them with their releases, but it was just like to see those two like just be a big disappointment. I was just like, wow. Another one, State of Play wasn't good this year at all. Like, it came, it went, and it did nothing. Yes, The Last of Us 2 was announced, and they just showed more CGI trailers with a little bit of gameplay, but it didn't stick for too long. And like, State of Play really became not memorable. Like, no one can't even think about what was shown at any of the State of Plays, and that's kind of sad. Like, they did like a big disappointment for Sony. Didn't really push anything this year.
Well, they've been kind of just focusing this year on VR stuff because that ultimately is like really been carrying them through the end of this this console.
VR had a good bump, but like they didn't push Death Space on. They didn't push Concrete Genie. They probably are pushing Death Stranding. I really can't tell, but it was just like, what are? I understand that you're getting ready for your next generation for your system, but push something like market, like Sony didn't let anything be marketed. Like Days Gone came out and got forgotten. People didn't even realize Concrete Genie came out. I'm like, this is a first party game, and Sony treated like it's a stepchild that they didn't want. And it's just like, really, like that was a big you sold 100 million PlayStations, PS4s, and you didn't do anything to promote any games for that system this year, to do any kind of like recognition. Like, we're still seeing some cool stuff Nintendo's doing with a lot of their games, like they did with Yoshi, like they did with Marvel, like they did with Mario Maker, like even Arby's and other people got into Mario Maker, was doing levels, and it was just like Nintendo was really pushing their product and still pushing their product, and you just didn't see none of Sony do that. So that was really big disappointing. Of course, everybody knows that. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
The thing, like you were talking about Sony, like when, what was it, when Medieval came out?
Yeah.
Right? Like, they didn't have anything on the PlayStation blog. They didn't have anything through Twitter or Facebook about it. But they were talking about how they sold so many they were talking about PS5 something. They were talking about, what were they talking about? I think they were talking about the controller at that point. And it's like, why aren't you talking about, like, people who bought a PS1 had Medieval probably at some point and probably liked it. Like, I know it's not as big as Crash or Spyro, but people like Medieval, right? It's obviously somebody thought it was a good idea to remake it because of nostalgia factor, right? Like, promote it. Like, tell people it's out, and
yeah,
it's sad because like there was a rumor going around that studio that made it might be in trouble in terms of staying open because like Sony just kind of, their game didn't sell, and it's sad to see, and like Concrete Genie was a game that was kind of marketed towards VR, and then they changed it a little bit, right, to play as like a normal game, but it has a VR component. And like that game is like, to me, Concrete Genie is like one of the most interesting things Sony's put out since God of War, for me personally. Just in terms of like what it's doing, and the art style looks cool, and like the message in that game is really strong because it's like, it's about bullying and like, you know what I mean? Like it's like an anti-bullying message, which is really cool. And it's just, I don't know, man. I don't understand what Sony's getting at when they're like, and I know there's a lot of changes going on there, but like there needs to be, one hand needs to be talking to the other, like their social media team doesn't seem to be talking to their PlayStation blog team, and they're not talking to like the higher ups to see what games they should be promoting through these channels and whatever. Like, it's just, Sony's promotions and stuff seems to be like really out of hand in terms of smaller stuff. Like, you don't see them promoting indies anymore. You don't see them, they have like third party kind of marketing, but you don't even see them really promoting quote unquote Call of Duty anymore, right? Like, I mean, I know Call of Duty kind of sells itself.
And they have an exclusive for a whole year for that game.
Yeah, for half part of the Spec Ops thing. Like, it's just like I understand having a Kojima game is a big deal, but like you need like, and I know PlayStation is kind of approaching their system a different way from what Xbox and Nintendo are doing. But like, you still need to give some credit to these smaller games, like
exactly.
Like Dreams is another example this year, right? Like, it came out in early access, no blog posts, no promotion through social media, now Media Molecule is trying to like have internal teams build levels for their early access people because like that game doesn't even have a release date yet, and Sony won't talk about its early access, right? It's like,
right, and people pay what? Wasn't it like what, $40?
yeah, it's $39.99, and it
for what was it again?
Dreams.
Dreams.
Dreams. It's like their game creation.
Yeah,
thing.
no, I was gonna actually bring that game up because I honestly think that game like should be in the running for game of the year. Honestly, like I would pick that over Death Stranding any day. For if I was gonna pick like a game that's exclusive to Sony, because like if you want to talk about like a game that's based around an artistic kind of game, like in my opinion, hands down, nothing can beat something where the the sole purpose of that game is to create games. I mean, like that. I mean, that game looked amazing when they came out with it, and it, it's really disappointing because like Microsoft had that as well. Yeah. they had that game, and then it just completely got canceled. Yeah. And right. Unfortunately, we're seeing kind of the same thing happening with Dreams, where it's just not getting promoted. And I honestly think that it's like a must-have if you have a PS4.
And Sony could do so much with Dreams by promoting the community of people who are making stuff for that game. Like it's literally like, even though Nintendo don't promote people for making Mario levels, they did show you could go on Twitter and see a lot of people making levels for it, and you can see a lot like even developers of indie games have made a level, and it's getting promoted, it's getting talked about, like whether they do it or maybe Nintendo recognizes it and maybe they will throw it out. They'll be like, hey, here's a code from Playtonic, you guys should check it out. Like, Sony should be doing that definitely with this community. Be like, hey, we got some YouTubers and some streamers who made this cool level. Go check it out. Sony should be able to do that.
See, that's the thing is, I think like I use for making the music and stuff that I use this program called Fruity Loops, and they have a like a YouTube page where you can go and you can watch like different things where they teach you how to use certain things or do certain things with their program. And there's a whole community of musicians and people out there who also make videos do their own things, and they talk about how to use Fruity Loops and stuff like that. And honestly, I think it would be as simple as literally Sony having some kind of YouTube page that's focused around Dreams, and then them taking the time to just try to keep in contact with other developers and people who are maybe using it on the side to make their own little pet projects, and just have them kind of make a small video of them going through the steps of what you can do and how you can do it, and giving people hints and ideas, and just really promoting that. It really wouldn't be that difficult of a thing to just, because YouTube is such a easy thing to grab. You make a video and you grab the URL and just easily throw it up in Twitter or a link to it, and like there's just so many. I feel like there's easy ways to take a game like that and really promote it without having to spend a lot of money. And yeah, it is really disappointing to I don't hear anything about it, other than the game podcasts that I listen to talking about it occasionally, and a lot of them feel the same way, that it's really disappointing that we don't hear much about it.
Right.
That shouldn't be their job to talk about it every week.
And,
Like
in Media Molecule, they are passionate about making games and being creative and want to see other people create. They are passionate, and Sony is not doing anything with that passion, and it sucks. It's just a big disappointment for it. Of course, Blizzard and their whole shenanigans, that big disappointment for it. Like, I really wish they didn't do it, but they did. And look at all the craziness that it caused. And I'm just like, oh, wow. But, like, those are just, like, some of my kind of big disappointments. Definitely YouTube with them changing things, and, like, the way, getting rid of channels, and you might not be able to have a channel because it's not making the money. Like, that's a pretty big disappointment. It's just like, oh, come on now, YouTube. Like, what's going on? Like, it just kind of ick. I didn't have any disappointing games actually this year. Like, I wasn't just like, oh, I can't stand this game, or I didn't really have anything like that. Crackdown 3 and Days Gone, they're fine games. I prefer Crackdown 3 over Days Gone because I was having more fun with that. But I didn't really have anything like kind of disappointing this year. Everything. Oh, I know what a big disappointment was. That Borderlands 3 reveal was a big disappointment. That mess was just like, okay, so Switch is only getting hop, really? Like, you can't bring Borderlands to the Switch or anything? Like, what's really going on with this? Like, that thing was just like a mess, and then the game wasn't working, and like they couldn't get stuff right. It was a very big disappointment. And then it being, I don't know why that game got the love that it got. Great that it was successful and everything, but just that conference was a big disappointment. I really felt like it really wasn't needed. They weren't gonna really do anything for it. Like, I don't want to see a girl stand up there and play magic cards and tricks and stuff. Just announce the game, show it off, and move on. Like, you don't need this big event that's not going to get... Like, you weren't going to bring Borderlands to Switch because everybody was expecting that to happen. People would have played it there. But once again, no. So that was a really big disappointment. But that's kind of like it for me for big disappointment in games for this year. I just really hope that things are better next year. I definitely can't wait till I read Game Informer's biggest dork and their biggest disappointments, because they probably got stuff that we completely forgot to be like, oh my goodness, I remember that. Yes. But yeah, everybody, that is the show. Hopefully Ray will be on next week, because I do want to hear his big disappointments. Oh, last big disappointment: the game awards for Game of the Year. That list is a big disappointment.
Yeah, well, I mean, the internet has a lot of things to say about that too. So
yeah, I'll be watching it for the reveals, but best family game is all Nintendo stuff, and like really, like Nintendo killed it this year. They have two of the probably number one games or battling out for Game of the Year. Not knocking Resident Evil 5. Oh, not 5. Not knocking Resident Evil 2, Jesse. Not knocking.
I know, but
Devil May Cry. But
and you're very 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 Nintendo. But, like, so I can't. The problem is I can't take like what you say about the Nintendo games seriously.
I can't, but I do say I do think Resident Evil 2 deserves a nomination for Game of the Year in anybody's discussion on anybody's podcast. That game deserves it. But looking at Astral Chain, I think Astral Chain is probably one of the best new IPs of this year. I think Fire Emblem House is
maybe the best IP of this year, but it's not nowhere near best game.
no. I think it should be nominated. Though it should be and by the reviews. Oh, big disappointment. Review bombing. That should not have happened. That happened to a lot of games this year, and it shouldn't happen. But Astral Chain scored a like really high this year, definitely for platinum and a new IP. So that's a good start. Like I said, Resident Evil 2 deserves its nominations. This deserves to be talked about. It's a great game. But a lot of people were feeling Astral Chain, and a lot of people were feeling Fire Emblem. Like talk this.
Well, I do agree. Fire Emblem should have been on that nomination list. I do agree with that, but I can't agree with. I don't think Astral Chain was really anything like it's a great game. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that it was game of the year material.
A lot of people. It varies.
But I also don't think that that any game that's kind of niche should ever be on that list for game of the year, because it's just not the way it should work. In my opinion, if it's game of the year, it should be because it's liked by either people who normally wouldn't play that game, but also the people who would play that game.
And
that's why I don't think Death Stranding should have been on that list either.
Oh yeah, there's a lot
because it's just such a niche game.
It's a brand new game that came out and it's already on the list, and it was just that's no. Like
I think a lot of that is more of sucking up because so many people didn't like the game and were outspoken about not liking it and thinking it was great, and then there's a lot of people who just kind of were like, "Hey, don't say that."
Right, because
it's like why they're allowed to say that if they played it and they felt like it could have been so much better. They should be allowed to say that, Right. It is. I don't know. There was a lot of disappointment with that game and just kind of stuff that annoyed me in general. But
it's just like a lot of the nominations in a lot of these categories for Game of the Year, for the Game Awards, I should say, were just really like this is the same thing over and over. And I understand that there are journalists that they send the nominations out to first to make a finalized list before they announce it, and for us to vote on it. But there needs to be a better diverse. Like I said, there should be 3 first-party games, an indie game, and a third-party game. Literally, it should just be 5 games, and it should be those 3. And 6. Let me make it 6 because PC also deserves to be on here, because there are some PC games that are not on other platforms or anything, and it needs to be on there.
Yeah, like my thing that I was really glad to see on that list though, because again, they're like Ed, I think you pay attention more to like Nintendo stuff than anything else. But I was really glad that Control was on that list because so many people love that game. Like I have yet to see anyone online who said that they hated that game. Like I know Corey, you've had your things about it, then you haven't really been pulled into it as much as you were hoping. I don't know how far you are in it, but
I think I just need to put more time into it. I haven't really gotten to a part where I have powers, but they're not like I just need to get more into it. I think a couple more hours with it, I think I'll be okay. It's just it still feels kind of like, to me, it still feels like I know generic
Liberty game.
Bad, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's missing. Yeah, like you're missing.
But I think Remedy deserves it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I just really it's just so disappointing because I feel like they've done the last couple of games they made, sure, maybe they could have been better in some ways, but it's just been really disappointing to not see them get acknowledged for the work that they're doing, because I do think they're doing an amazing job with stuff, and they're still figuring things out and trying to kind of really, I feel like, build something like their Mass Effect almost is how I look at it. Like once they get to that point of where they really figured out the powers and things that they've kind of had variations of through the last couple of games, and really trying to figure those things out. Like I feel like once they can, like this game has gotten a lot of those things really solid. It's just there's like I spoke about earlier, there's certain things that I think they could improve on yet, but I still think it's such a great game, and like it's very entertaining, and you're like the world building and stuff that they're doing in this game is just like phenomenal, I think. So like I really like the idea of the powerful object stuff, where there's this one part where you're walking through a cell, and it's just like there's like it looks like it's a jail cell, but it's like all completely sealed in this like bulletproof glass, and you'll just see like a safe sitting on a thing. and then there's like this one where there's like a guy sitting in the cell, and he's like a guard, and he's supposed to be watching it, because the idea is this thing will only come to life if someone's not looking at it. So there's always got to be someone looking at it. But he was just left in there, and the person who's supposed to fill in for him didn't come to relieve him. So he's just sitting there, and you talk to him for a moment. There's just like really cool little things all throughout this game. And I'm just glad to see them at least be nominated, because I do feel like this is a really, unique and cool game. And again, I've heard nothing but good things from people as far as like, whether it be the podcast I listen to, or the Facebook places that I'm, a part of or follow. So I was just really glad to see. But I do think that like I really think Fire Emblem should have been in that list, because like even though I haven't finished it, I can see just by playing it, and like as far as I've gotten into it a couple of hours now or whatever, it really, I feel like it was a game that kind of like, even if you're not into RPG games and stuff, like you still will find very entertaining and really fun. Like it's a game that everyone can enjoy, regardless if it's not the type of game, or if you've never played any of the other ones like me. I've never really played Fire Emblem games for the most part, but I really enjoyed that one a lot. So yeah, it was kind of disappointing to not see them in there. But
yeah. So everybody, that is going to be the show. Thank you guys for joining us here on Boss Rush Podcast. Let's get into some plugs. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me just about everywhere as Phantom NXS.
Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at CoreyNHD713 on Twitter, and CoreyNHD on Instagram and Mixer, and also Nintendo Power Block with Eddie V.
Yes. You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatButcherCode. You can find me on Mixer and on Twitch at The Lyrical One. You can check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud. And soon you'll be checking out Optional Opinion here on Boss Rush Games. I gotta try to get there to say that right. I take my time, because it's gonna be like Boss Rush. So you guys can check out Ray Apollo at Ray Apollo on Twitter and on Twitch at Ray Apollo. You guys can find them there. Everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving. Get some gaming in. I still want to see what everybody's playing. So hit us up on our Twitter and our Facebook page. We really want to know what games you guys are getting and the food that you're eating. Or if you're going to be doing some Black Friday shopping, we want to know what games that you guys got. All right. We
Or
will talk.
movies or TVs you're watching.
Yes.
Also-
Controllers, accessories. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Also, I just want to say that the we did tell everybody that we would tell them when the Facebook group was kind of reopened and unprivate, and so the Boss Rush Games community is open. You can join the Facebook group. You can join our Discord, and you can also follow us on Twitter. And you can also check out the new website. It's not finished yet, but our current content is up there, so you can check out bossrushgames.com as well.
Yes.
Yeah. It feels so good to say finally.
Yeah. So we will see you guys not this following week, the week of Thanksgiving. We will see you guys in December, that first Saturday in December, or that next episode. That's when we will see you guys for next episode. With that, everybody, have a great day, have a great night, have a great week, have a great weekend whenever you see this, and also get ready for more content on Boss Rush Games. Fight some bosses, beat some games, be better, play great games. Okay, I got stuck. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Wow. Really stuck that landing, Ed.
I couldn't think. I was trying to think off the cuff.